how high?
I played Sergeant Scott, who was a Vietnam veteran, you know, good soldier, but he'd gone psycho. He'd been out there in the jungle too long.
They wouldn't listen.
He was very professional and approached this in a very serious way, considering it was an action karate movie.
Traitor.
And in fact, he even had his acting coach on the set working with him. He desperately wanted to be good in this film.
Oh yeah, I went into all of that, the psyche, the backstory, what had happened to him, the 50 questions, all this stuff. Then, of course, when you get a little older, you realize, you don't really need a lot. I guess I was a victim of the over-preparation at the time. But, I mean, I think the result was pretty good at times.
I kick ass who kiss ass, and I'm busting heads.
I wanted to give him kind of a sick sense of humor.
Sergeant Scott, could I have a word with you?
I'm all ears.
He's emotional, but he's kind of having fun doing this stuff instead of being just evil. Because then there would just be one note. It wouldn't be so much fun to play, and it wouldn't be so much fun for the audience. Images of, for instance, Jack Palance and Shane, you know, when he's like taking his gloves off, speaking to Shane, you know, so like that kind of thing where you take your time, because if you're doing something evil, then people are watching you, and you can really suck them in that way.
Any questions?
Well, at that point, people remembered him most from the Rocky movie. He had a very different background than Jean-Claude. I mean, he had actually been a world-class fighter. I mean, he was thought to be the next world champion. But he also had this incongruity in that he was quite brilliant. He was from MIT. He was really intelligent.
To me, it was a pleasure to work with Dolph, because they told me you're going to work with Dolph, it's going to be the boom, 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 boom. You know, him and Rocky and Stallone. When I saw Dolph, I didn't have any problem, because he was my friend. We helped each other. He's a cool guy, and everybody was cool on the set.
It was day one of the shoot. It was the first scene in the movie, and that was the first scene we shot. And I haven't really gotten to know Jean-Claude that well. And, you know, we had this confrontation, and of course, you know, we haven't rehearsed this either. I've rehearsed it with other actors. And then we had this little mini fight, and that's when, you know, we got a little tense there. I could tell everybody's watching, like, what the hell's gonna happen now? It kind of broke the ice between us. Of course, we do make contact in that fight. And everything worked out fine. So after that, everybody was kind of relaxed.
You're a traitor too, aren't you? Come on, boy. Prove it.
Dolph is a big guy, and I'm also a big guy, you know? So when a big guy touch a big guy and the other big guy get nervous, the big guy go crazy. But I mean, it was good kick. I want Dolph to hit me good. I asked him. So all this we choreograph, we talk together, and when we start to touch each other, we start to feel each other, it's like everything go fluid.
13.
What I like about this movie, it was like a competition in a sense. When you see all those strong guys in the film, they all go to the gym. So we want to keep in shape.
They were like kind of so busy, like kind of like Dolph and him, you know, like kind of checking each other out.
Hey, Dolph, look at there. He's always late. Always come late on the set. You know, I mean, this is not good.
Really?
He has to learn.
Who's this?
It was a little bit like this. Sometimes when we like kind of shot, it was like who pumps up first. I was not aware of that when you're like a bodybuilder or whatever, that you have to pump yourself up. It's like kind of like some air pump, you know?
There was a big gym in a trailer, 2 trailers of gym equipment that we kind of worked out with.
And when you didn't time to dry it, you could not shoot, because then the other guy had to pump up. It was like very complicated.
Yeah, there was a little competition going on there, who could bench the most.
It's kid stuff. We're gonna try to go, and because we have to look good, but I was in that mood because I didn't know acting, so I was in that physical mood of showing the best I can to the audience.
Where are your clothes?
What's needed, you mean, like, to show your butt? Yeah, I'm sure I show my butt all over the place. I mean, in movies.
It was like really one of his trademarks. We really wanted to please his audience. We studied his movies very carefully, and we realized there's certain things in every movie. In every movie, he drops his clothes.
Oh, come on, man, not this again, huh?
So he like kind of did this, some say like very homoerotic shot behind, craning up his butt.
The funny thing was that day, even though he had always done these kind of shots in other movies, he gets nervous when he has to shoot it. As we went to set up that shot, he looks over his shoulder and he says to Walter, our cameraman, he says, "Is my butt in focus?"
I said, Jean-Claude, we're professionals. We know what we're doing. We get your butt in focus.
They say I can put a walnut and I can crack a walnut with my butt by squeezing my cheeks.
Where are you from anyway? Are you from France or Canada or... I mean, I figured you gotta be French or something because of your accent.
What accent?
When we were originally conceiving the character, the idea was that they were kind of reborn as these reanimated soldiers. On one of the first scenes, the accent was a real problem because it sounded more like, you have to stop 50 feet behind the line of the limit. And then suddenly Roland came over and said, Dean, you have to make this shorter. So I shortened it down and said, well, you have to stop at every stop sign. You have to stop at every... Shorter. So in the movie, it's, I have to stop. And that became kind of an ongoing theme where we started taking more and more of that kind of verbose dialogue and making it shorter and shorter. And it actually got much funnier that way, especially during the fight scene. He just wants to be left alone. He just wants to eat his lunch, and these guys are bothering him. And he just turns and goes,
I just want to eat.
and that was probably one of the funniest lines of the movie.